students, how are you? I hope you are enjoying your holidays at home with your families. Is it? Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for your result. This is my first class. In this session, today I am going to teach you the first chapter of science, that is nutrition in plants. I prepared a PPT PowerPoint presentation for you for this chapter, and now I am going to explain each slide, right? Please do concentrate. First of all, the introduction. What is nutrients and nutrition? We have already learned that carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals are components of food. These components of food are necessary for our body and are called nutrients. The nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies and provide the energy to carry out the life processes. These things you have already learned in class 6, right? So, nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body, right? Going to the next slide. Now, mode of nutrition in plants. We, the animals, including human beings, we depend upon the plants mainly for our food, right? But plants, how do they get their food? Mainly two modes of nutrition we can see. Here it is explained. Plants are the only organisms that can prepare food for themselves by using water, carbon dioxide and minerals. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic nutrition. Auto means self and trophos means nourishment. Therefore, plants are called autotrophs because they can prepare their own food. Right? Then the other mode is animals and most other organisms take in ready-made food prepared by the plants. They are called heterotrophs. And the meaning of heteros means others. Means it depends upon the others. Right? Next, if the plants prepare their own food, so how do they do it? How do the plants prepare their food? Sources of raw materials that is required for this process. The synthesis of food in plants occurs in leaves. So leaves are the main site of food production. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. Carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called stomata. You can see here in the diagram. These are guard cells and this is the opening. This is stomatal opening, right? This is called stoma. Singular is stoma. At night, it is closed. The guard cells comes together to close the opening, right? And at daytime, when sunlight is there, the guard cells go like this and the stomatal pore opened, right? And here is a stomata. It is shown in enlarged. And this is the leaf where photosynthesis takes place, right? The leaves have green pigment called chlorophyll. It helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. So sunlight is the ultimate source of energy that is captured by the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll has the ability to capture the energy, right? And it is converted to and it is stored in the food. It is converted into food energy, right? Next, the process photosynthesis, the food producing process. So how does it happen? How does it happen? The process through which chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates is known as photosynthesis. I'm repeating, the process through which chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates is known as photosynthesis. During the process, oxygen is released. The process can be represented as an equation like this. Okay, I'm going to show you the equation. Before that, you see, light energy is captured by the leaf, and the chlorophyll in the leaf. Carbon dioxide is coming to the leaf and it is going through the stomata, as I have told you. And during this process, oxygen is released, you see. Right? Water and minerals, it is absorbed through the roots. Okay, let us see. So this is the equation. Equation of photosynthesis. In word, we can write like this. In the leaf, carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and with the help of chlorophyll, glucose is produced. It is a kind of carbohydrate. It is the simplest form of carbohydrate. And oxygen is released plus oxygen. Carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. What gives? It gives glucose and oxygen. So this is the word equation. And we can write this equation in symbolic way like this. 6 CO2 means 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, glucose plus oxygen. That's why we say if we plant more trees, we will get more oxygen because more photosynthesis will take place and we will get more oxygen, right? Now here I have given an activity to show presence of stars, carbohydrate in leaves. Okay, we have told that yes, photosynthesis takes place in the leaves, food is produced, but how can we prove it that carbohydrate is there, photosynthesis takes place in the leaves? So this is a very simple activity. The carbohydrates ultimately get converted into stars to show the presence of stars in leaves. So we can do this activity. We have to take 2 potted plants of the same kind to keep one in the dark or in a black box for 72 hours and the other in the sunlight. For 3 days we will keep a pot in the dark and another in the sunlight, right? Then we have to perform iodine test with the leaves of both the plants as you did in class 6. You know, in the iodine test, if stars is there, what will happen? It gives us blue-black color. Now you see, we should record the results. Whatever record, we will get 2 different results because one plant was placed in the dark and another was in the sunlight. So we will get 2 different results. We should record the results. Now to leave the pot which was earlier kept in the dark in the sunlight for 3 to 4 days and perform the iodine test again on each leaves. Again record the observations. So earlier we kept that plant in the dark and now again we have kept the same plant in the sunshine for 3 to 4 days. And after keeping it for 3 to 4 days, we will take some leaves from that plant and we will perform the iodine test. Then we will get a different result. So through this iodine test we can prove the presence of carbohydrate in the leaves and we can also prove that photosynthesis takes place in the leaves. So next slide. Synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. So what are the other food other than carbohydrate that is produced by the plants? Carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. To synthesize protein, plants use nitrogen absorbed from the soil with water along with carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So in the carbohydrate, we will get only carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These three molecular present in the in carbohydrate, but in protein, for synthesis of protein, nitrogen is also required. So the plant, from where it get nitrogen, it is absorbed from the soil. The nitrogen present in the air directly, the plant cannot use it. Okay, so protein is synthesized, and along with that, fats are also synthesized. Now I have already told you two main kind of mode of nutrition is there, autotrophs and heterotrophs. We have already learned about the autotrophic nutrition. Then what are the other modes of nutrition of plants? It is heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, let us see. Most of the plants have green pigment called chlorophyll and can make their own food. Some plants do not have chlorophyll and cannot synthesize their own food and are known as heterotrophic plants. This type of nutrition can be categorized into the following types. Number one is parasitic mode of nutrition. In parasitic mode of nutrition, plants depend on other plants or animals for their nourishment. Such dependent plants are called parasites, and the ones on which parasites depend are called host. A parasite plant climbs on the host plant from which they get all the food. They do not synthesize food, they get the food from the host, that is parasite. The host does not get any benefit from the parasite. Some examples of parasites are Cascuta, a casbell is the local name, and Casita, a marble. Some animals, hookworms, tapeworms, leeches, etc. These are parasites. Parasites are sometimes so harmful to the host that the host plant or animal may die, right? Then another kind of heterotrophic nutrition is insectivorous mode. The insectivorous mode of nutrition is observed in plants like pitcher plant and the Venus flytrap. These type of plants purely depend on other insects and small animals for their nutrition. Pitcher plants trap small insects inside the pitcher, and insects are digested by the digestive juices secreted in the pitcher. So this is the pitcher plant, this is the pitcher plant, and this is the enlarged view of a pitcher. And if an insect goes inside, the lid is closed and the digestive juices secreted from that pitcher, it digests the insect inside the pitcher. Interesting, no? Insectivorous plants grow in those soils which do not contain sufficient nitrogen mineral. These types of plants are green and carry out photosynthesis to obtain a part of food. It doesn't mean that insectivorous plants only depends upon the animals. It can prepare its own food also because the leaves are green here. Okay. Then another mode of heterotrophic nutrition is saprophytic mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition in which organisms or plants that obtain their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter is called saprophytic mode. The plants which exhibit saprophytic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. Saprotrophs secrete digestive juices onto dead and decaying matter to dissolve it and then absorb nutrients from it. Examples of saprotrophs are moles, mushrooms, yeast, and some bacteria. You can see the moles developing on a lemon, the mushrooms developing in the dead and decaying log of wood. Right? It is absorbing the minerals from the dead and decaying matter. Then another kind of heterotrophic mode of nutrition is symbiotic mode of nutrition. Symbiotic. Two or more plants together, living together. In this mode of nutrition, there is a close association between two different plants of different categories. In such type of association, both the plants get benefited. For example, certain fungi live in the roots of the trees. In this case, tree provides nutrients to the fungi and in return receives help from it to take up water and nutrients from the soil. So you can see in the root some nodules are there. Inside that rhizobium bacteria is living. So what is happening? It is taking help of the root to stay there, and in return this bacteria, when it will mix with the soil, it can trap nitrogen for the plant, is or not? So it is a symbiotic relationship. How nutrients are replenished in the soil? Now the problem is that every time plants are getting the nutrients from the soil, minerals taking along with the water. So how it is replenished? Again, the nutrients, so that the another batch of plant can take, or the same plant in the next time it can take. So let us see. We know that plants continuously take nutrients from the soil in order to synthesize food. As a result of this, amount of nutrients in the soil decreases. Nutrients in the soil are replenished by adding fertilizers and manures. Fertilizers and manures contain plants, nutrients and minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Another way to replenish soil is to grow leguminous crops, for example, gram, peas, pulses, etc. in the soil. The bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. But rhizobium cannot make its own food. So it lives in the roots of a gram, peas, mung, beans and other legumes and provides them in with nitrogen. In return, plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria. The picture, the image we have already seen. Thus, plants and bacteria have a symbiotic relationship. Now, how can we differentiate between a parasite, if it is a relationship of parasite and host, or it's a symbiotic relationship? So what are the differences between a parasitic and a symbiotic relationship? Okay, let us see. So 4 points I have listed there. First of all, you see in parasitic relationship, what happened? The organisms involved are called host and parasite. Then in symbiotic relationship, the organisms involved are called symbionts. In parasitic relationship, the parasite is benefited, the host is harmed. But in symbiotic relationship, the organisms involved are mutually benefited. Both are benefited. Number 3, parasites have modified roots called haustoria to suck the nutrients from the host plant. But in symbiotic relationship, no special structure are used. Number 4, some parasites may make the host completely devoid of nutrients. But in symbiotic relationship, amongst symbionts, one of the organisms provides nutrients while the other provides protection or benefits. Right? Clear? Okay. So this is the content what we have had to learn in this chapter. And I will request you to see the video at least twice or thrice. Now I have given you some worksheet here. One worksheet here for 2 pages. You can see I'm not going to read it out. Along with this video, I'm going to provide you the PPT, PowerPoint presentation. You can see it again and again. So, and you will write it down in your notebooks, right? After that, I have given you the question bank. Here in 2 pages, 22 questions are there. You see the PPT and you write the questions and answers in your notebooks. When the school will reopen, I will check it in the class. Okay? So again, I will request you to see the video at least twice or thrice. right? So thank you. Stay at home, stay safe. I will meet you in my next video. Thank you.